This is One on One. The play is 39 Steps. The actor is Robert Petkoff. How you doing?
I'm good.
Describe what we just saw.
This is really fun. Well, this is, Alfred Hitchcock's 39 Steps. It's based very closely on his movie. You got this hero, Richard Hannay, who's kind of bored with the world, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, that's me. I'm the hero, and then he meets this woman at a theater, and she sort of ends up sending him on this adventure. And what makes it different from the movie is that unlike the cast of hundreds that's in the film, that we only have 4 actors total.
Playing how many roles?
Playing about 100 roles. It's insane. The 2 guys that you saw there, dressed in the woman's outfit and other things, they play between them at least 75 to 100 roles.
You're the hero.
I'm the hero.
You're the dashing hero.
It's good to be the dashing hero with my little dashing mustache.
Yes.
Which makes life a little troubling in real life. When people see this, they're always a little perplexed about who I am. I feel compelled to explain, this is not my choice.
This is my work.
This is my work. This is my work. But
when I wear my makeup on the weekend, no, I'm joking. I'm sorry.
There it is. You go out in the makeup, don't you?
Yeah. Let's not talk about that. How about this? When did you know, or did you know as a kid, that you wanted to act?
I think it was in high school. I was a soccer player, and there was a girl I had a big crush on.
Where was this?
This was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And she was in the theater stuff, and I thought, oh, hey, if I audition for those plays, maybe I'll get closer to her. And I auditioned and got into these plays. She didn't get into any of them. And I was stuck doing this. And I think the first time I walked out on the stage, a bunch of my buddies came, and they were cheering and yelling for me. And I thought, hey, that feels good. But it wasn't until my mother saw a play I did, and she was very moved by the fact that I was a very quiet kid, and then suddenly I was this different person on stage. Yeah, I was a little that period you go through in your teen years where you don't really talk to your parents and do all that. And so I came home one day after the show she'd seen, and she was very effusive about it, I was terribly embarrassed by that, of course. But then I went into my room and I was like, oh my, that's amazing that my mom feels that way. And so I think all those little things sort of said, hey, this would be fun to do. And then I had a great high school teacher when I moved to Illinois who really encouraged me to take it more seriously, that it wasn't just games and fun. And Mr. Martinkus, Dan Martinkus. Isn't
it great to be able to mention that teacher?
Absolutely. And this guy, just terrific. He really did.
He saw something in you?
He did. I think he did. And more important, he just taught me to treat it like a professional thing rather than just fun and games. And at that point is when it sort of deepened, and it became more less about, oh, look at me, and more about, hey, there's something to discover here, something artistically to express.
But you talk about expressing things artistically. You sing.
Uh-huh.
You dance.
Terrible dancer.
Are you terrible?
Don't tell people, but I'm.
But you sing and dance.
I sing. Yeah, I've danced in a Broadway show, but they tailor it around me.
Which one?
In Spamalot, I had to do some dancing.
Right.
Yeah. I remember on the road, the woman who was in charge of teaching the dancing would tell new people when they came in, listen, if Robert Petkoff can do this, anyone can do this.
See, isn't that great? That you're the role model?
Yeah. The right kind.
Getting to New York. Mm-hmm. Performing here for the first time. Describe it.
Really thrilling. My wife and I met doing a play in San Diego.
She's in The Biz?
She's an actress, yeah. Susan Wands is her name. And beautiful, terrific actress. And we met doing a play in San Diego, The School for Husbands, ironically enough. And I was living in LA at the time. She was here. So I came out and said, I'll join you in New York, because I'd always wanted to be here. And I remember the very first show I did was an off-Broadway, it was a showcase of Mrs. Warren's Profession. But there was that moment where it sort of hit me that I am on a stage in New York City, something I dreamed of doing, but never thought would happen. When I did my first musical, Fiddler on the Roof, on Broadway, that was the moment where I thought, this is beyond my wildest imagination.
Role?
I was Perchik, the revolutionary. And I had only done straight plays for 15 years before that. I'd never thought I would get to do a musical. And I auditioned and got the job. And I remember that feeling, myself and John Cariani, who got the Tony nomination for playing the role of Muttle that year, we shared a dressing room. And both of us, it was our first Broadway musical together. And it was wonderful to share with someone who wasn't jaded, who was also as excited about that as I was. But that was a moment where you thought, okay, I did a musical or two in high school, and it was fun, but now I'm doing something I don't think I even dreamed I could get to do. And that was beyond thrilling.
Comedy drama. Preference?
Well, you know, comedy, you get that great reaction. You know, you say something in comedy and 400 people or 1,500 people burst out laughing spontaneously, and that is, I mean, that's the best high. You know, drama, there's a high that's more personal. You know, I had the great fortune to play Hamlet in Chicago years ago, and you're exploring that person and that psyche and saying some of the greatest speeches ever written for an actor. There's less of a look to the audience for a response and more of a dig inside and try to find the truth of this guy. And then you get the audience's response at the end of the play.
And you also played Hubert Humphrey in All the Way with Bryan Cranston.
That was really great.
And Brendan Dearden, who was here, who played Dr. King.
Yeah, terrific.
He was great. Cranston, we couldn't get him, right?
Busy man.
Okay,
Busy
but
man.
what a play.
Oh, yeah.
What was it like for you?
Unbelievable, because I had, first of all, just been a gigantic fan of Breaking Bad. And so when the audition came up, I thought, oh, I really want to be in this play somehow. And I auditioned for another role, and then they sort of brought me back in for Hubert Humphrey. And my first day of rehearsal, I thought it was just going to be myself and stage manager sort of teaching me where I would walk. And I came around the corner, and there was Bryan Cranston. The most ordinary, normal guy you've ever met. You know, he's someone who never got spoiled by all of the great success he's had, because he's just a down-to-earth guy to begin with.
Where is it again?
39 Steps, Union Square Theater. It plays nightly, except for Tuesday nights, and it's a great comedy.
Who's it for?
You know, age 9 to 99.
Because?
Because because it does have that thriller beneath it. It feels like a serious play, but because it's 4 actors switching roles and doing all these things, it's filled with silliness. As one audience member said to me, it's magnificently stupid.
What a great
I thought that
testimonial.
Perfectly summed it up, and the kids just love it.
Listen, Robert Petkoff was in 39 Steps, based on a 1935 Alfred Hitchcock movie. Check it out at the Union Square Theater. Thank you so much for joining us. You made my job very easy.
Thank you very much.
Stay right there. Stay with us. We'll be right back for one-on-one at the WNET Tisch studio right here in the heart. You talk about being on stage, being on TV in the heart of Manhattan ain't bad either. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. This special edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato is brought to you from the Tisch WNET studios at Lincoln Center. Funding has been provided by NJIT, United Water, Meridian Health, Cone Resnick, Fedway Associates, the Fidelco Group, and by New Jersey Sharing Network. Promotional support provided by NJ.com. Small news, big news, true Jersey. And by NJ Biz. All business, all New Jersey. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.